Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Buzzko. I'm back. I know it's been a while since I last uploaded, but now it's time to get into FIFA 23. And what better way to do so than to start my first road to glory on this channel with 1860 Munich, guys. This is a career mode that I'm dedicating to Toby, who has been a great inspiration for me to create my rule set, my companion mod, which you will see in a second here if you haven't seen it already. But yeah, we're going to get straight into it here, guys. Okay, so let's have a look at our board objectives. And right off the bat, you can see that 3 are set at critical and 1's at medium. So this isn't going to be a cakewalk. This is going to be a very demanding series. And with our companion mod and some custom rules, it will be a very challenging experience. For youth development, you guys can see we have 3 players that we need to sign 20 years or younger. So that falls right in line with how 1860 is as a club. Very youth focused, so that's very nice. And right in line with the way I wanted to play this road to glory. With brand exposure, this is, I feel, the easiest one of the goals. Just get a goal in 10 away matches. I feel like as one of the better teams in the league, this is very doable. Finances is going to be a bit of an issue because we have to sign 1 crucial player while at the same time making 5 million profit, while at the same time keeping wage growth under 15%. And the interesting thing about this is that if you look at 1860, and many of the teams in the 3rd German league, they barely spend any money. Very recently, 1860 bought 1 player for 20,000, and that was their first money spent over 4 years. Most of the transfers are free transfers, and many of the players don't get more than 2 years on their contract. So they are very cognizant of their finances, and 1860 is also not a club that is known to spend a whole deal of money. Just, they don't have it. Many clubs in the lower leagues operate under this harsh reality, and it's not like the Premier League where players just get bought for 50, 60 million on the regular. Clubs are just spending left and right. Much of the teams in the lower leagues and in Europe in general just don't have these sort of funds. So now we move on to the domestic success and win the league. Not even get promoted, win the league, and it's critical. All right, so let's take a look at our core DNA setup, guys. And if you're seeing this on the screen for the first time, this is my companion mod. This is what makes the career mode experience much more enjoyable and realistic. I highly suggest giving it a try. The links will be in the description below. For now, I'm going to show you the 1860 Munich setup that I have. And this will allow you to just get a feel for what the career mode will be focused on, what direction we're taking, and what abilities we'll have as we play the career mode. So it's a pretty balanced setup, but there is focus on development and academy. I've set academy DNA strand at 5. This will allow us to have 6 players in the youth academy. And I've picked best in class, eye for talent, and can't win it with kids. So straight off the bat, we're going to be able to bring in anyone up to 80 potential, no questions asked. We'll be able to bring 3 per scouting trip, and we'll be able to promote 3 per season. So we will have a nice injection of youth coming through, trickling in as the career mode goes on. And I've set development at 8. This will allow us to have 8 focused development plans. I've picked Tinkerman, so we'll be able to set 2 positional development plans. And I've picked Dilly Ding Dilly Dong, which will allow us to train players on focused development plans who are above the age of 23. So this will give us a very tactical approach to youth because we'll be able to specialize different players, mold them for the different positions, and when and if they get sold, we'll be able to bring more youth. Now we're going to need to find some of these players, so I've allocated 4 into networking, and I've picked global talent pool and chief scout. So we're going to have 4 additional locations in addition to the one we choose from the chief scout, and we're going to have an additional youth scout and GTN scout. So we'll have 3 GTN scouts and 2 youth scouts. We'll be able to get a decent pool of players. Again, we're in the 3rd league. We can't buy too many players in general. This will be enough to get us started and maybe enough to get us even through the 2nd Bundesliga if we get promoted. Now, as for the other choices, it's a pretty balanced setup. I do want to only highlight that I've picked open market specialist because this is very unique and it just fits for the 3rd league in general and for 1860, because if you look at this league, 90% of the transfers are just free transfers. It's movement in between teams, players that are older coming from the 2nd Bundesliga, maybe younger players coming up from the top leagues who haven't re-signed over there, and it's just constant movement. So free market specialist open market specialist will give us the ability to get 3 free agents / pre-contracts per season. That's going to be very key for us because we don't want to spend too much money. First, because we don't have it, and second of all, because I'm going to try to keep this as realistic as possible, especially in the third league. The only other thing I want to highlight is the defensive playstyle. That will give us a slight boost to buying players who are either center backs, goalkeepers, central defensive midfielders, center midfielders, or wing backs. So yeah, this is my core DNA setup. I won't go through every single decision, why I picked 2 operations, why I picked 4 recruitments, just a balanced setup that will give us a little bit of everything and let us build for the future. Quickly before we continue here, if you do like this Ruleset, this companion mod, and you want to see it grow with extra content that I am releasing consistently monthly, please consider subscribing to Patreon. I appreciate all the support, guys. In addition, there's a Discord you can join. There's over 100 members already, and it's a great community. Share ideas, talk about football, talk about career mode, share your career modes. There's a number of people sharing their career modes, from big ones like Atletico and Man United to smaller ones like Wrexham and Gillingham. So there's definitely something for you there. Please join. It's a great community. And in addition, I am running a World Cup pool on my Discord, and we'll be able to have some fun with that, predict the results, and the first place and second place of this competition will get a prize. If you've seen any of my giveaways, it'll be very similar to that. Some sort of a monetary reward for whatever platform you're playing on, whether that's PC, Xbox, or PlayStation. Remember, guys, if you enjoy this video, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. So now we're going to get right back into it. And we just have to go through a few things here. We are playing in Town Park. We're going to call it Grunwalder Stadium, since that is 1860 Stadium. For now, it will be a small stadium. If we get into the Bundesliga structure, we will make it bigger slightly into the Stadion Neder, and it's consistent with what 1860 said. If they do get into the Bundesliga structure, they will improve their stadium to meet standards. Otherwise, they will not. So we will look to improve the stadium once we promote. We're going to pick Mikkel Kölner as our coach, as he's the coach in real life. We picked this also in the staff sheet. And now we're going to have a look at the formation we're going to play and the players we have. Okay, so this is a 3-1-4-2 on FIFA, but really a 3-5-2 Conte style football, the one he used with Juventus when they went invincibles. And I'm just going to go through some key principles. So first of all, we are setting up in a mid block, but during phases of the game, this may be a low block, or we may play a higher line and instigate a more aggressive press. For now, this press is going to be very mixed. It's going to wait for the opportunity to make a mistake and then perhaps pounce on it. But for the most part, we're going to be happy to sit back a little bit and wait for them around the halfway line. Now, when we do sort of cut out the passing lanes, we're going to make sure that we clog the middle and allow the fullbacks and the wide players to get the ball and then sort of pincer them, a little bit like Simeone does in Atletico sometimes. And this will allow us to make sure that the center is covered, while at the same time, if the crosses do come in, we have those 3 CBs who will be able to deal with it, who should be able to deal with it. Now, for some of the instructions here, actually, before I get to that, direct passing, vertical football is going to be the focus, playing balls in between the lines and then laying it back off, waiting for the left and right midfielder to press up, provide the width, get it out to them, spread it out, and then maybe cross it in, or just get it right up to the striker, make sure they stretch the defense and play like that. Now, the key here will be the 3 CBs, the central one being a little bit more of a physical presence, able to deal with headers, the ones on the sides a little bit more ball playing, able to find longer passes, especially to the left and right midfielders or to the strikers. Probably the most important position in this formation is the left and right midfielder, because they are the ones providing the width in this formation. And if they do so successfully, it can work great. If they don't, this formation is shot. So it's really important that they get up to support the attack, but also come back on defense. So they have to be set on getting behind to be a threat, but also come back on defense to provide that solidity at the back. And they're going to have the stamina first and foremost for this. So that's the most important part when it comes to those players. When it comes to the midfield, the mix is going to be a central defensive midfielder who's a deep lying playmaker, so a Pirlo, and then a box-to-box coupled with a Mazzala, the box-to-box a little bit more up and down, helping in both phases of the game and in transition, whereas the Mazzala is a little bit more free-roaming, focused on the offensive duties. Now, in terms of the strikers, They have to be running into channels for those direct balls, but they also have to complement each other. So it's advisable to have a little bit more bigger guy, a target man, coupled with someone either running in behind or maybe at certain times dropping as a false nine, someone a little bit more skilled, nimble, something like that. So those are just the basic principles of this formation. And now we're going to have a look at our squad. So in terms of goalkeepers, we have two very decent goalkeepers for this level. Both have been at the club for a very long time. I'm satisfied. Not too much to talk about here and nothing too much to change as of yet. Now, in terms of the CBs, which is the second most important part of this formation, you definitely have to have a good selection of CBs, and we do. And that's part of the reason why I chose this formation. So we have Virlat and Belkacia, who are a bit more physically imposing and they can play that central role. And Morgala and Lang can play on the sides, be those ball-playing midfielders. They have a little bit more pace, so it fits perfectly. We also have two central defensive midfielders who can fill in as ball-playing defenders, and they can also play the deep-lying playmaker role. So I feel like this is decently well covered. In terms of the fullbacks, which is the most important position in this formation, we do have quite a bit of them, and we have all of them with exceptional stamina. And this is essentially what made me choose this formation. We have Dijkman, who has great stamina. He's going to be our starter. We have Kevin Godin. He's a little bit younger, a little bit less stamina, but he can develop that. And we even have a veteran, Wilsh, who can step in if needed. So that's three good fullbacks. And on the other side, we have Greilinger. Again, a very decent, quick player, a lot of stamina. Steinhardt, a little bit older, less stamina, but we also have Lannert, who can play right back, left back because he has 5 weak foot. So the two most important positions are covered. In terms of the strikers, I like our selection. We have Finn Lakenmacher, who has come into the club recently, a nice target man who's actually quite pacey, and dare I say, looks like Holland there. So that's going to be interesting. Hopefully he's going to be quite good. We have Skenderovic, who's a left footer. And then we have Marcel Baer and Lex, who are a little bit more faster strikers who will act as that sort of nimble, more running in behind type of striker. So I think those positions largely are covered. However, the midfield needs some work. Now, we do have Talik, who is quite good as the box-to-box midfielder, a very good all-around player. He's got the stamina. He's quite mobile in the midfield, so he's going to stay. But the deep-lying playmaker and the Mezzala, I'm not quite sold on. We do have Kobylański and Vrenesi, who are a little bit more offensively inclined. Vrenesi, in fact, can play striker, but they don't really have the prerequisites to play in a Conte midfield. It's going to be interesting to see how they do. We definitely need some strengthening in this position. And then we have Moll, who's a central defensive midfielder, but he's not really a deep-lying playmaker. So we definitely need some work in the midfield. In terms of prospects, we do have quite a few, and we're going to have to make sure that they either get playing time or get loaned, but they could very well become a mainstay in the squad at some point. And then we have some players that just don't fit the mold. Some of them are even quite good, like Boyamba, but unfortunately, they don't have certain stats that I need in certain positions, and they're not going to feature in my squad. Really quickly here, we're going to set some development plans. If you go to the staff page, near the top of the page, there's an abilities section. It tells us that we can set 3 positional development plans, 8 focused development plans, and we have picked a first team coach, which means all CBs don't count towards that quota. So really quickly, the CBs, we are going to set Morgala, Lang, and Belkacia to ball-playing defenders. They're going to increase some of their defensive stats, their weak foot, as well as their passing, so we'll be able to play a little bit more out from the back. Virlat is going to be a sweeper just because he is that more central dominating figure. He's going to need to win headers. If he can be a little bit faster, that would be helpful. In terms of the focused development plans, the one that actually count towards the quota of 8, we're going to use 5 for now. We're going to set Greilinger and Lannert to attacking wide backs to make sure that their crossing, short passing, stuff like that gets improved. We're going to set Erik Talik to a box-to-box midfielder so that when he arrives, he can have a little bit more finishing and make sure that passing range and mobility gets improved. In terms of the strikers, I am going to set Lakenmacher to a target man because he is that more dominant force that we need him to get better at heading, because honestly, 63 heading accuracy at his height is just not good enough. We need a little bit more skill in that department. And Skenderovic, I feel like, would profit from getting his finishing, his sprint speed up. So Poacher, I feel like, is the best situation here, especially since his stamina is only at 53. So if he's to become a useful player, we'll need him to improve there. And we will use one positional development plan for Sur. He's not a left winger because we just don't employ that, but I feel like he does have promise in the striker position, so we'll see how that goes. In terms of our scouting network, the locations that we can scout are marked with an X on the sheet, and we randomly rolled Portugal, Belgium, Switzerland, and Scotland. Our home region is automatically unlocked for us, so we can scout Poland, Germany, and Austria, and I've picked a chief scout from France, so we can scout France. Now we have the ability to have 3 scouts at maximum 3 stars. If you look in game, we did have indeed 3 scouts, and they were all below 3 stars, so we didn't have to fire anybody. And we can also send 3 instructions. So the first one, we are going to do essentially free agents, because we have open market specialists and we want to get as many free players as possible since we don't have a lot of money. We will be also looking for prolific pacey strikers, because the ones that we have are good, but they're older. And we're going to be looking for anyone below 20 years old, because that is our youth development objective, to sign 3 players under the age of 20. Now, we did have a problem in terms of important roles. Because we are limited to only 10 players with the important role, we have a little bit too much and we have to thin out the squad. In addition, we do have to make that $5 million profit, so we are going to let go of Wilsh because we have a lot of fullbacks, Mole because we don't really need a ball-winning midfielder, especially since he's not really that good. He's getting on in age. Boyamba, as I explained before, doesn't fit the system. Our 2 young players here also don't fit the mold, so they'll be moving on. But we do have an opportunity to bring in some crucial players, because we can have a maximum of 5 and we currently only have 3. So we definitely will be doing that. Now, before we get to there, we have to input our starting budget and currently wages in the club page. And we've done that here on the left-hand side. Our finances page shows us that we have about 1.5 million in budget to spend on players, is because we can only get 75% of the starting budget according to my rules, and we have spent that early, and we've gotten some reinforcements into the central midfield guys. So first and foremost, we've got Köhler. Now, he might not be the most exciting signing, 65 overall, 69 potential, but first and foremost, the transfer realism calculator here won't let you buy high potential players if you're in the 3rd league, because realistically, they would look at themselves and go someplace else. You won't be able to hire high overall players because they just don't want to play in the 3rd German league. Realistically speaking, you can get someone either from the 3rd league or maybe from some smaller teams around Europe. So we decided to go for Köhler here, and it's because he perfectly fits that deep line playmaker role. He's got a little bit of physicality about him, so he will have a presence in midfield, but most importantly, he has 72 long passing, he has 67 vision, 66 short pass, so he'll be able to dictate tempo, and that's really all I'm looking for, especially at this level. Our next signing will also reinforce the midfield, but it will be a free transfer of Callum McCowett, and I'm really excited for him because he has slightly more potential. He's a little bit younger, 65 overall, 72 potential. We were able to get him over the line because we have everyone has a price, the trait in the coordinate sheet, which gives us a little bit more points towards the realism calculation if we give him a release clause. So we were able to get him over the line, and he will give that needed quality in the midfield. Now, he's a very all-around player, not too good at anything, but with a little development, this guy can be a peach of a player playing in that Mazzala role. He's got the mobility for midfield that's good enough. He's got a little bit of stamina, and he's got like mid-60s in both attack and dribbling and passing, a little bit weaker on the defensive side, but again, he is that Mazzala role, so I'm really excited, and hopefully he will be a very crucial player for us going forward. Now, I also made a 3rd signing off the free agents again. This signing easily came through, just a 17-year-old striker, 55 overall, 70 potential. First of all, to satisfy the youth development quota, we do need to sign 3 players younger than 20, so this is one of them. And you know what? He's a 17-year-old. Who doesn't like a good 17-year-old on their team? Maybe he'll develop into something. So with those signings, this is how our starting lineup is going to look like. We got Hiller in net. We've got the 3 CBs, Lang, Virlat, and Morgala. We've got Grillinger and Dijkman on left mid, right mid. And then we've got our mix in midfield. Talig as the box-to-box, Köhler as the deep line playmaker, and Callum McCowett as the Mazzala. And then we have the striker partnership of Bear and Lackenmacher. So that is the starting lineup. That is the squad we are going to play in our first game here against FS Zwickau, guys. And Honestly, I haven't played one game in FIFA 23. I am rusty because I hadn't played for a few months, even when FIFA 22 was coming to a close. So I am wondering how this is going to work out. We're going to go through this game. I'm going to go through some of the aspects of our formation, of how we're going to play. I'm going to explain everything. Let's just get into the game here, guys. The first thing I wanted to see in this game is how well my defense sets up and if the AI is doing what I'm asking it to do, because sometimes that's not the case. But it looked decent, especially at the start of the game. Zwickau started off with the ball and they tried to play a nice through ball here for an unrunning winger, but our defensive line kept shape and we caught them offside. So this was encouraging because we were defending with those 5 back and they kept a very, very tight line. A mistimed run from the attacker, and we pulled off the offside trap. So that was good to see. Zwickau continued to attack, and unfortunately there were some things that I didn't like. For example, this passive defensive midfielder who didn't put in a tackle or mark his man, and that was concerning. But our attacks were good, and they epitomize how I want to play. Playing through the lines, playing direct, a nice on-running ball for Marcel Baer. He chips it, and guys, that is the first goal of this season. A beautiful finish from Marcel Baer. Now, playing direct vertical football too quickly out from the back can be dangerous, and this is exactly what happens when you do it incorrectly. You give it away. Zwickau has a good chance. It's just wide, but this is definitely something you need to watch out for. In terms of other things I want to highlight, Dijkman's cross here gets cut out, but this is what I mean by pressing in opportune moments. He's turned away, the team can successfully press here, they get the ball back, and this generates a quick, good opportunity for Talig. It's saved by the goalkeeper, but this is exactly what you want to do. Press at certain opportune moments. Zwickau kept attacking during this half, guys. Kretzmeier showed that he's quite capable as a Hiller replacement. Maybe this won't be so bad, but we continued to play our football and tried to be as direct as possible. The left mid, right mids got into action. There was some space in the middle, and it looked quite good. Now, right before the end of the half, Zwickau got a good chance here, but unfortunately, it's really the defensive error that made this goal. Virlat and Lang got in the way of each other, and all of a sudden it's 1-1. A good example of how quick and vertical our play can be was this early chance in the second half, where you can see 2, 3, 4 passes, we're in the box, and we have a good chance. So that was really encouraging. Now, we did go on attacking, so our line was slightly higher because we were trying to win this game, and this can open you up to chances like this, especially if the opponent has faster forwards. So that's definitely something you want to watch out for. But we continued to attack, and another element I wanted to highlight was this McCowett going in, getting a goal from that midfield position. And this is what I'm talking about when midfielders run in from deep because they're either in that Mazzala role or in that box-to-box, they're offering good support. So McCowett did give us the 2-1 lead, guys, and it took the pressure off us a little bit. We went back into our balanced game plan, but we continued to attack. We continued to play vertical football and especially get those left and right midfielders involved. Lannert came on as a substitute. He has a go here. It hits the crossbar, but this marked a period of the game where we had a little bit more pressure. It was sustained pressure, a little bit more possession actually, and we continued to threaten Zwickau. And we get another good chance here. Köhler, out of all people, gets it on the edge of the box. He has a go, and it hits the post again. We should have probably won by more than one goal here, but it ends 2-1, guys. And for the first game of the season, we get a result, and that's the most important thing. And it does look like we will have some joy with this formation and this style of play. So it's encouraging. All right, so a good start to the season. Cal McCowett got a goal, so a great debut for him. And now we're going to move on to the next games. I'm going to do things slightly differently than I usually do because we're going to incorporate some simming into our seasons. First and foremost, so that I can get more seasons in because this is a road to glory. And also because if I don't play every game, it will be more challenging to achieve the goals in the league table. So our first game will be against Borussia Dortmund's second outfit. And we are going to go for the first few games with the exact same squad because I always like to play the same players just so they can gel, get cohesion together. So it did look like the team was playing some direct football, which was nice to see. McCowett got a goal early on in the first half, and then Talig made it 2-0. So the central midfielders running in and getting the goals from deep worked quite well, and we got a 2-0 result. The calendar doesn't look too clogged for the month of August. We've got Viktoria Köln and Halleschere, which we're going to sim, and then we're going to play the Duisburg game. The squad will remain unchanged. Like I said, I love consistency at the beginning, and if you look at the calendar, we set up one recovery day. Because we have a manager with the tactician archetype, we get one free recovery day per month so that we can keep our squad fresh. Neither team found a breakthrough in this game, guys. It looks like there was some good defending on both sides and the game ended 0-0. And then we moved on to our final sim of the episode against Halleschere, and this time there were some changes with Belkahia coming in at CB. The left mid and right mid were rotated. Vrenetzi was getting tried at the striker position, and I was giving a shot to Kobelański in midfield. The Vrenetzi experiment at striker turned out to be a great decision, guys. He made an impact early, scoring a goal. Halleschere did tie it up, but it was Vrenetzi again who got a late goal to give us this 2-1 victory, so I was really satisfied with that. And I know it's a sim, but he did really well, and it's something I want to try in our game when we actually play. Okay, so those were our simmed matches, and before we move on to the Duisburg game, which we're going to play and round off the episode with, we are going to do a quick transfer roundup. So in terms of the business we did, Wilsch went to Holstein Kiel for 540,000, we got Mol out the door for 500,000 to Turkey, and we sold our Croatian youngster to Finn Harps for 300,000, so some decent business, but we were pressured into selling our players. There was a number of offers. Young boys came in for Marcel Bier. They're a very good side, 71 rated, they're a bigger club, and we would have normally been forced to at least listen to offers and sell this player, but because he's only at the club for 2 years, we can reject the offer, but it's something to look out for. The same thing happened with Talig. Paris FC, who is a bigger club, 68 overall, came in for him, and because he's 2 years at the club only, we can reject these types of offers. Once they go into their third season, we're going to have to start listening to them. And that is exactly what happened in certain other cases. Swansea came in for Lex. Again, they're a better club than us, 69 rated, and I was forced to accept an offer of 660,000. So unfortunately, we were forced to sell Lex. And then it just got worse because Basakas here came in for Hiller, our starting goalkeeper, and they are way, way better than us. And even though Hiller has been at the club for a number of years, we were forced to sell him for over 3 million. So on one hand, we lost our starting goalkeeper, but on the other hand, we got 3 million, and that's a large sum, and it's going to count towards that 5 million profit, which the board expects us to make. And then finally, before this Duisburg game, we also lost Steinhard. Again, Benevento came in for him. These are all bigger clubs in better leagues. The third German league is just a very Ponce league in terms of my reputation status. No offense to the league, but there are better leagues that players want to play in. They want to leave. They want to get an opportunity. Steinhard was another one of those. 746,750. And those were our 3 players that we were forced to sell. You're only ever forced to sell 3 players in the summer. So those were the 3 players, and we're going to have to live with it. Kretsmeier has now had to take up the mantle, go into the goalkeeper position, and we're going to see how well he does here in his game against Duisburg. This is the game that is going to end off this episode, guys. Remember, if you do enjoy this episode, if you do enjoy this rule set, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into this game, guys. I hope you enjoy it. The commentator for this game is yours truly, Buzzko. Welcome everybody on this sunny day to the third tier of German football, a game between Duisburg and 1860 Munich. This will be a very interesting affair as 1860 comes in undefeated in the first 4 games of the season. They are looking to build upon that and get promoted to the second Bundesliga. They have recently adopted an interesting style of play similar to the 3-5-2 Conte system. We'll see if they can continue that rich vein of form here today. 1860 is on the front foot here to start this game. They push it out wide for Dijkman, and his cross goes out for a throw-in. It's good pressure from 1860. Dijkman puts a cross into the back post. Oh, it's Greiminger! 1-0! 1860 takes the lead. And that did not take long at all. What a ghosting run from Greilinger into the back post. You see Dijkman crosses it fullback to fullback. The goalkeeper spills it, and it is 1-0. You have to say that is a howler from the goalkeeper though, but 1860 will take it. The visitors have been the better side here in the first 15 minutes, but then again, it is expected of them. They are one of the favorites to get promoted into the second Bundesliga. They have another chance here. Vrenetsi switches it out wide. It's Dijkman. He's surging into the box. This is a dangerous situation. It's squared for Lachenmacher. 2-0 within the first 20 minutes. And the visitors are running away with this one. It's a great run by Lachenmacher, but it's Dijkman who has been terrorizing them on this right-hand side, making run after run. And he does it again here, surges into the box. You can see Lachenmacher, he pulls away from his marker, and he puts it in. It's been all action from Kölner's side here this game. Duisburg have just not had any chances. They've stuffed everything out, and it's another chance here. That was pretty close from Talig. Amidst rumors that he's going to be transferring to Paris FC this summer, he stayed, and that was great technique on the shot. And I have to say that was pretty close. Duisburg in lots of trouble in this first half. But it's a goal kick for them now, and perhaps they will be able to get one chance here before the end of the first half, but it's given away cheaply. Vrenetsi plays in Lachenmacher. This is going to be a great chance, and it's a goal! 3-0! That was a terrible giveaway from the defender, and an easy goal from Lachenmacher. Bread and butter, he puts his foot through it and powers it home. 1860 is up 3-0 here. It was a one-sided affair in the first half, but perhaps Duisburg can claw themselves back into this game. Spurred on by the home crowd. They are threatening. It's a through ball in here for Wild, and it's a great save from Kretzmar, but it's better from Duisburg. It's a corner from them. Some chaos. It's cleared by the 1860 Munich players, but picked up on the edge of the box by Duisburg. They move it around, and it's another save from Kretzmar. This is better from Duisburg. The manager must have gotten through to the players because this is night and day compared to the first half. Another great save by Kretzmar. He is on point, but the pressure is mounting. Duisburg here with another corner. Perhaps this will be their chance, but it's cleared by 1860. Picked up again. This could be interesting. And it's... oh, this is a result in chaos here, and it's Duisburg getting another chance, and Kretzmar with another save. 1860 Munich is looking to regain some of that momentum from the first half. Duisburg have dominated the early portions of this half with a number of good chances, but it's one here for 1860, and that's a good save from the goalkeeper. It's been pretty quiet the last 10 minutes. 1860 keeping possession, looking for an opening but not pushing it. Perhaps now. Good quick exchange of passing. It's played through in for Vrenetsi. He's surging into the box. Bear is coming in, and it's slotted home. 4-0, and this completes the rout. What a play from Vrenetsi and Bear. And that does it. The managers shake hands, but it's 1860 who take the full 3 points and put themselves at the top of the table with 13 points. It's me, Buzzko, signing off. Laters!